Hey everyone!
What up?
I'm Trisha Marie.
Lotta Zay.
And we're the Carters.
It's the Carters, man.
And you're now watching Now That the Kids Are
the kids
Asleep.
man. And you know they sleep right now, man.
Yeah,
So we gotta get this in.
And of course, you already know we have our Bustelo coffee because in this household, we always drink Bustelo.
Yeah.
So today we have an interesting topic to talk about. One of my favorite topics to talk about is the 5 love languages and how identifying your love language is important when you're in a relationship, but just not in a relationship in general. I think it's important for you to identify your love languages. So if you're not familiar with the 5 love languages, let me let you know what they are. We have words of affirmations, act of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. So out of the 5 love languages that I just mentioned, what would you say are your top 2?
Words of affirmation and spending time, I guess you said.
Now, I guess the question I would say for you is, when did you become aware that those were your love languages?
You know, when you started to become aware of it, because it started to be something that you wanted. I think that's something that we all subconsciously, those are things that we all subconsciously want and need and yearn for, but we don't know how to identify with it, a word, or how the whole process goes. So, but yeah, I feel like when I finally identified it is when you identify with love language.
So basically, like when I was on my journey and kind of like brought awareness to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's interesting because, like you said, like I don't think I was really aware of my love languages until really being married with you. Because yeah, we're in relationships, right? And in the relationships, you just kind of go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, in my household, and I think in most households, I don't think that's really taught, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can't really say.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say in my experiences in my family. And I think everybody just goes based on experience and or watching family members and people around you. That's kind of how you learn the blueprint of
right,
how
and
relationships
you don't even know necessarily if that's even your love language. You're just following suit of what you see, really.
Absolutely.
Which is interesting because it becomes a program at that point. So basically what led me on my journey to figuring out my love languages was my spiritual journey, right? Throughout my spiritual journey, the whole self-love, self-care aspect of it, and just identifying who you are and what you perceive as love and how you project onto others. All of that good stuff is really what led me down to figuring out my love languages, because I felt like what we talked about with programming is you see what your parents, like me growing up, I see the affection and I see the love between my parents, right? And I automatically assume that that's my love language, right? Because I'm seeing it as a program. So as I'm getting wiser, I don't want to say older, wiser, you know what I'm saying, because it's so young. But as I'm getting wiser, I started to realize, okay, no, that's what I saw and that's what I interpreted as my love language, but is that my love language? Because we have to understand, the way we receive love and the way we give love is 2 different ways and 2 different love languages. So my love languages, I think out of all of the ones that I said, would be words of affirmation, quality, honestly, all 5. I'm all about the love. But if I had to pick, I would say words of affirmation and physical touch.
Okay.
I like a little
bit of everything.
Yeah, when we walking past, you just, what I'm saying, slap the booty. Something about that is like part of my love language. But I guess when I brought it to your attention, what my love languages were, what was like, what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, with anything in a relationship, You know, you got to try to be compassionate and open to what your partner is asking of you. You know, you want to be treated the way you want people to treat you the way you want to be treated. So saying that to say is, you know, if you want your partner to do something for you or treat you a certain way, you know, you would want them to take it into consideration. So I just feel like love languages and things like that are part of it. And it's definitely a part of what keeps the relationship stable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And going.
Yeah, because that's really the main foundation of a relationship, is how you perceive and receive love. Because, for example, right, let's say the way I project love out to, you know, my significant other, and this isn't necessarily the way I do, but I'm just saying hypothetically speaking. Let's say if I'm a gift person, right, and all I do is buy gifts, but buying gifts is the way that I show my love, right? Mm-hmm. And your love language is quality time and affirmation. So me buying gifts is not really fulfilling your love, right? Your love meter, it's not really fulfilling it. I'm thinking it is, right? Because in my perspective, and this, like I said, hypothetically speaking, this is not how I receive love, or project love. But if I'm giving gifts and constantly giving gifts, I'm perceiving that as, okay, I'm showing love, right? Mm-hmm. But in your perspective, like I said, hypothetically speaking, you're like, okay, she doesn't love me because she keeps giving me gifts, and that's not my love language. But I say that to say that it's so important for partners in relationships, marriages, partnerships. I think in just any type of relationship, whether it be a friendship as well, it's important to understand that person and how they receive love and how they project love. Because I feel like that leads to like miscommunication.
Absolutely.
And most of the times arguments, right? Or that thought of that your partner doesn't love you the way you thought they did. And I feel like with us, we grew up in two different households. So my upbringing is I'm seeing both my parents, you know, I'm also seeing lots of love in the household. I'm seeing lots of affection. I'm seeing all of these traits that eventually did become my love language, and not because of a program, but because I realized that I actually do love, you know, affection. I do love quality time. I do love affirmation. But I noticed with us, being that we came from two different backgrounds, that we had to identify that, because when we first started, you of course you gave me love and affection and all that, but you didn't necessarily understand my upbringing and what I perceived to be love. We just kind of like most relationships, just jump right into it, right? Mm-hmm. And just figure it out really in the midst of it. And I think that at some point we had to have those uncomfortable conversations where, you know, based off of my experience and how I grew up, these are the things that, not that I expect, but these are the things that I want to, if not meet, higher expectations. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, what your worth, you know your worth, you know what you want, you know what you need in a relationship, and that's okay to communicate with your partner. Mm-hmm. And I mean, tell them how you were brought up.
I mean, well, it was just me and my mom mostly, so you know, my mom, I'm definitely a mama's boy. I'm her only kid. So, you know, I got all the love from her, you know, all the love that she can give, undivided, you know what I'm saying? And the way that she showed love was definitely words of affirmation and lifting me up and, you know, encouraging everything that I do, and you know, being one of my biggest supporters. And then, of course, we spent a whole lot of time together. We always did everything, you know. We always did a bunch of stuff, travel. We always watch TV together. We listen to music together, like, you know, just spending time. So that definitely has the way your parents raise you, or the way you grew up around your parents or your family, or just your whole intermediate circle of family that you grow up around, definitely has a bit an impact on the way you love on other people, and you show your love for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with you growing up, you grew up with you know, having such a strong woman, and her being very independent.
Yeah.
Did that change your ideal of like womanhood in the sense of like, okay, like for example, you know, growing up in a household with both parents, you kind of get to see the masculine and the feminine energy, because it's almost like each person is playing their role, right?
Yeah.
In a household, growing up in a household with a single parent, how does that work when it comes to seeing like the love? Do you get to like, did your mom have to kind of play both roles, like that masculine and feminine energy when it comes to love? Or did her partners really take?
Since it was just really me and my mom most of my life, well, all of my life, being my grandmother was the head of the family, I guess you could say. And my mom having all sisters, one brother. I mean, I never really seen it no other way. So, I mean, I never even really looked at it in that type of way until I was much older and looked at it in hindsight, because all I ever knew was women doing everything. You know what I'm saying? Being not necessarily the breadwinners, but, you know, I just never knew it no other way for it to be a man-woman kind of thing. It was just like the women in my family put it down just as good as the men do as far as taking care of business. And not saying that men were absent in our family. It was I got a lot of men cousins and my uncle and, you know, a lot of male figures, you know, but the women in my family have just always just been on their own type of thing, even when they have a partner. You know, they're very strong and standing on their own. So I never really seen it any other way. You know?
And with that,
I mean, I guess you could say, I guess what I'm trying to say is growing up, I never really, probably subconsciously I noticed, but I never really paid attention to gender roles in my family, because everybody in my family is an earner.
And I like that you bring that up, gender role, because that's something that in our relationship we had to have clarity on. Because me coming into this relationship, coming from, you know, a 2-parent household, I got to see gender roles, and it also was embedded in my subconscious, in my mind, on, okay, women do this, men do this, women do that, and men do this, you know. And I realized as I became a wife and a mother myself that why is it that women just do this, and is that really true, right? Because sometimes in our relationship, right, like for example, it'd be like, I don't know, let's just say something, right, taking out the trash or whatever. Let's say he's not around and I would let the trash be there, right? And he would be like, well, you can take the trash out, right? And I would just be like, no, I can't. That's the guy's job to take the trash out, right? And that was a program that I kind of like, I stuck to, and I was just like, well, no, that's like masculine. Like, you have to do that. I'm feminine, I'm soft, I'm a woman, right? And there's nothing wrong with that belief system, because I do believe women should be able to stay in their femininity, in their soft energy. You know, there's a balance between that masculine and feminine energy between all of us human beings. But I'm sure, like, for example, for you, I'm sure it feels better when you're like fully operating in a masculine energy, because that's something that you identify with more so, right? Yeah, everyone has the masculine and female energy, but you identify more with the masculine because you're a male, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. So it played into those gender roles.
Just certain things are just ridiculous, you know, like shouldn't be gender based, like driving.
Let's get there. Let's talk about it. Okay, so here was my little funk with the driving. I felt like I was driving most of the time. And for me, I'm like, excuse me, I'm a queen. Like, I'm not supposed to be driving. Like, growing up, my dad always drove, like, and my mom sat in the passenger, you know what I'm saying? So it was just kind of like those things where I was just like, so you're not gonna drive? And it was some like simple things like that would actually like cause little arguments, because in my mind, I'm like, you're not playing your role. But really, what is the role?
I don't get that.
Comment down below, men and female, if you guys feel me when it comes to that perspective of, you know, the woman doesn't drive as much and the male and the guy drives.
Such a silly thing. So silly. See, like I said, in my family, stuff like that is different. You know, when I seen what my stepdad put my mom in the driver's seat, it was more of, I don't want to say an honorary thing, but it was more of, here, you know, now you can move around on your own. You don't gotta wait on me. You got your license now. Here's a car. You know, you can go to and from wherever you need to go. You don't gotta be dependent on me. You know what I mean? Like, it was more of a level up. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of women can't do nothing, can't go nowhere without, you know, a green light from their partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me and for a lot of women in my family, to see them driving is a good thing.
And don't get me wrong, I don't mind driving. I'll drive. But when I'm in the car with you, I figure, like, you should be driving.
Yeah, I mean, well,
majority of the time.
Everybody feel like they should be escorted, you know, but that's not the case.
No, but I think, comment down below and let me know what you guys think in regards to the gender roles. And is there a certain position that you're supposed to play? So, with you, right, and the whole gender role, what is your perspective on that? You know, because I talked to them about how I felt. I
feel like everything in the world should just be looked at evenly. You know what I mean? Women can't say certain things are sexist, and then when it comes to things like driving or taking out the garbage, you want to bend the rules.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? That's hypocritical. You know,
because I'll be like, why do I have to do dishes just because I'm a woman?
You know what I'm saying? And in my family, I grew up doing the dishes. It wasn't a gender thing. I grew up doing the dishes. A lot of my male cousins, well, not a lot of them, all of them had to do the dishes. It wasn't a gender thing. You know, you dirty the dish, you did it. You know, it wasn't because, you know, on weekends, my girl cousins are cleaning up. We all had to clean up. It wasn't a gender-based thing. It was like everybody had to do this, and more so with the way my mom taught me. It was more so a thing of, at some point, you know, ideally we want our, you know, a life for our children in the future for them to be with someone else, but that's not always the case. You know, you might not get there as fast as everyone else, so you might be on your own at some point. So you need to know how to wash your drawers. You need to know how to wash the damn dishes. You need to know how to change the tire. My mom showed me how to change the tire and do simple stuff for my car and stuff like that. You know, not saying there wasn't male figures around, but my mom taught me everything that she knew. It wasn't gender-based. She just showed me everything she knew, so I could just be able to take well care of myself because she's not gonna always be around to do things for me. You know what I mean?
And I understand.
And I feel
that.
like, you know, not that I don't want to do certain things, and not that I don't want to, you know, follow your beliefs or the things that you like and you want. But I feel like certain things you gotta, even if you don't want to do them and you're not gonna do them all the time, sometimes you gotta do them because everybody needs to be self-sufficient to a certain extent. You know, you don't want to be rely and be like a cripple.
No,
you know,
absolutely.
like you can't do things for yourself because, you know, not even saying something tragically with your partner not being around, your partner could just be on this side of town and you could be on that side of town. And something may happen where your partner can't get to you right away and you got to figure it out on your own, whatever the problem or situation may be. And you don't want to be caught out there on your own because you always relied on somebody to do something for you.
No, I agree with you. I think my perspective on that is, of course, be self-sufficient and be able to do things on your own. But when you have your partner, they kind of play a role in that moment, not necessarily doing everything for you, and you're not knowing how to do things. But for example, fixing a tire, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm by myself on the road, of course I have to figure it out, and I have to right. Mm-hmm. Got to figure it out. You have to get the tire fixed. How are you gonna get anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. But if I'm in the car with you, and I'm outside fixing a tire, and you're inside the car, that is a problem for me. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean by certain gender roles, in a sense of like not necessarily saying, hey, depends so much on your partner that you can't do anything. No, but in a sense of like, is that considered chivalry, or what's it called?
I guess you can say that. And I get all of that. I'm just saying when it comes down to the little nitpicky stuff, like driving and stuff, you know, like that's not one of the huge issues we talking about. Like, you could drive, I could drive. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a matter of who's tired, who just don't feel like doing it. You know what I mean? But sure. You know what I mean?
So what happens when neither of us feel like driving though?
Then I guess we ain't going nowhere.
Right? So we just gonna sit here. Yeah, and see it. And when it comes to stuff like that, I'm the type of person that I'm like, we gonna sit here, really? And I'll just like get in the car and just start to drive just because of, you know, I guess not wanting to just sit there like
it. Man, sometimes it just comes to a standoff.
Stubborn.
Sometimes it just comes to a standoff, and somebody got to be the one to be like, all right, man, whatever.
But is it always me?
I mean, but there's nothing wrong with people saying no. You know what I'm saying?
All the time? There has to be an equal balance.
You say no to stuff all the time.
Not when it comes to driving. I don't have an option, it seems like.
You do say no sometimes, and your way of doing it is you just get in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
That's your way of saying no.
That's my way.
I be telling her she got ways of saying stuff without saying stuff, and she think it don't count. It does count.
Well, technically it doesn't.
It does count.
Because
if you know I'm gonna be like, I don't feel like driving, and you get outside before me on purpose and just get in the passenger seat, so you know I'm gonna have to drive, and I'm not gonna make you get out of your seat after you done sat in it.
Can you guys tell that this driving
Yikes. Can't wait to get a chauffeur.
has become an issue. I swear.
I've been driving since I'm 15. I'm tired of it. I was a truck driver.
So am I.
All of that. I was a truck driver. All of that. I'm tired of driving.
I'm tired of driving.
I would like to be escorted.
Me too. And I believe I'm supposed to be escorted as the woman.
Yeah, but you had no problem driving all over the world before you met me.
Yeah, by myself.
Going to Virginia
by
in 2
myself.
seconds. No, you had gang of friends that you would go and do
Right,
stuff
but
with.
what I'm saying is they weren't playing my partner.
But still,
that role of my partner.
That's not the point of what I'm saying. If I was here or not, you'd still be driving. Who else was going to drive?
But see, that's okay.
Oh, see that. So you see how this looks? You see how this looks?
No.
She just want a butler, dog.
No.
She just want a butler, dog.
I don't want to.
Yeah,
you want a butler.
You just want a butler.
You want a butler. I'm not driving all the time.
Butler, man.
I deserve to be in that passenger seat.
I deserve too.
All the time. So, guys, you comment down below and you let us know. Do you drive your woman around or does your woman drive you around? And what are your thoughts on that? Comment down below. Gender roles. What are your thoughts on gender roles?
And she don't drive all the time. She capping, yeah.
Majority.
No.
Well, I would say good 60%. Yeah, because most of the time you're like, I'm tired.
Who drove today? Who drove today?
You did.
Damn back. Who drove?
You did.
Exactly.
But still,
exactly.
It feels like it's more.
Exactly. She be exaggerating.
It feels a little bit more. It feels a little on the 60% side for me.
She be exaggerating. Yeah, you see how I just caught her right in front of you?
No, but honestly, I guess that's like, he tells me all the He tells me all the time.
Who drove yesterday when we went to go get the truck? There and back.
You did? Who's counting?
She be talking. Obviously, she talking about percentages and stuff. 60%.
Well, if like I said, in my mind, it feels like 60. You know, it may not be the reality, but that's my mind.
Stuff all the time.
But
forgetful.
I'm so forgetful. I forgot the next topic. Okay, thank you. You made me forget what I was going to say. No, but honestly, you say that I watched too many Disney movies growing up.
Yeah,
that's a topic of its own too.
Yeah.
Is watching too many fairy tale movies a bad thing? Because I think
not even fairy tales. That's just a small part of it. Just pop culture in general shapes the mind of what people feel like they want in life. Have people chasing types that aren't even their types. Most of the time, people find out their type isn't their type.
Or what even is a type?
It just comes from, subconscious stuff that you've seen over time. You know what I mean? Almost everybody wants a house with a picket fence and a dog, a boy and a girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, where does that come from? Most movies you see that we grew up on. You know what I mean? So that's why it's also important, with the narrative of everything that comes out, from all the time, but more so what's going on in the world today. All of that stuff is important, man, because it shapes the way that people think, man.
It's really true, though, because, ladies, how many of you can relate with me on that? Is that watching, like, Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast and all of these movies, as a kid, makes you fantasize about your Prince Charming. Like I tell you all the time, you rescued me from the castle.
Okay.
From the evil guy.
Yeah, it's interesting because I guess little boys watch different things because we don't share the same stories.
Yeah, because little boys are fresh. So you guys are probably watching a whole nother thing.
Well, we're watching X-Men and fighting stuff. You know what I mean?
So is that what makes men so like?
I guess. You got Superman, Batman, Spider-Man.
So you guys are watching how to run away from the women as we're watching how to run to the man.
How to save the woman.
Okay,
which in most cases happens. You know what I'm saying?
What,
just not in the way y'all do.
Not in the
just
fairy
not in the
tale
way fairy tales describe it.
True, but see, that's the thing. It's like fairy
Y'all
tales.
y'all wanted more in a more romanticized way.
Right. I was just about to say
It's
that
more-
it's more romantic.
Ours is more of a beautiful, chaotic.
It's like it's that inner child of just. See, here's the thing. The fairy tale movies don't tell you the reality of when Cinderella got married with Prince Charming. When she got home, did they argue? Did they, what happened in the castle? They don't tell you that. Did they just say she lived happily ever after, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you assume that everything in a relationship or in a marriage is perfect based off of fairy tales. But in reality, it's like that is a part of the fairy tale. In order to have true love, you have to go through the rides. It's not going to be perfect every day, right? You're going to have arguments. You're going to have disagreements. The person may annoy you this day. You may not like them this day, but that's a part of true love, is having loves without limitations, or, not boundaries. What's the word I'm looking for?
Obstacles.
We'll go with that. But so it's like it's a good thing that the kids watch that, because it's also believe in love and the romance side of it, but it's not the reality of it. And I think sometimes
the full reality.
Yeah, because you become an adult and you're like, okay, I got married. I thought everything was gonna be 100% picture perfect. Like, I thought the birds were gonna come to our windows and sing every morning.
And every person you meet ain't Prince Charming or
that part.
Princess Charming.
Right. And even when you do find Prince Charming and Princess Charming,
because honestly, when you keep it totally real, you miss all of the plot pockets about how a lot of the marriages were arranged. Damn princess didn't have no pick in who she had to marry. She ran off.
Oh my God, that's true. Belle was like basically captured in the castle, so she had no choice to fall in love with this man.
Yeah, they'll tell you about that part when you looking back at it. You be like, damn, man.
Yeah.
I wonder how that worked out. It probably didn't work out.
And think about Sleeping Beauty. Like, she had to be like in a coma to like find her man and her love.
Yeah. So
it's like, dang.
Read deeper into the stories before you go into apply them to your life.
That's hilarious though, because it's so funny how programming can dictate the way you want your relationship. And I wonder if that's why a lot of relationships don't last in this generation, is because of the whole fairy tale persona of, okay, this person does one thing I don't like. It's like, you're not it. And they just move on to the next person, and that person does something and it's like, you're not it either. And it's like seeking something that will you ever find if you're looking for perfection, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. What do you guys think? Comment down below.
Yeah.
So we talked about love languages.
Yeah.
And we talked about how growing up really was not to say a program, but some sort of a program based off of we were only perceiving love based off of how our parents were loved, or what we've seen around us if you didn't grow up with your parents and stuff. We talked about gender roles and how you should drive every day and I should just be in the passenger.
Just gonna get DoorDash. Not DoorDash, we're gonna get a Lyft.
Uber and Lyft.
We're just we're gonna get an XL and they're just gonna drive the whole family around.
Hey, you know what?
You know what I'm saying?
We can compromise. I can do that. I can do that.
We probably save on gas.
Yeah. And we
gas
won't
is
have
more than an Uber.
Yeah. And we won't have the bickering of when we get outside, you're driving, I'm driving, you're driving, I'm driving.
Yeah. You know what I'm
So
saying?
hey, let's you see.
It's like having a Tesla.
Compromise, teamwork. That works for me. It works for him. Let's do it.
Mm-mm.
So we talked about gender roles. fairy tales? Is it really a fairy tale story, based off of what we see on Disney? And what
and you can't have a fairy tale. Just know that it comes with ups and downs, just like anything.
Yeah.
Anything in this world that's worth having has never been easy to attain.
Yeah, an imperfect fairy tale.
And if you've got something that's very valuable and you've attained it easy, take it back to where you got it from, because there's probably something wrong with it.
So would that even be... So if someone picked up a girl at a club right now, take her back home if she came home with you like right away.
You see how that analogy worked? That's exactly what I mean.
Take her back home if she's quick to go in the car with you.
That's exactly.
And women, same way. If the guy's quick to get in the car with you and he's really easy, take him back home.
Take him back where you got him from.
Take him back where you got him.
Take it back. It don't belong to you.
Take it back. Full refund.
You won't regret.
No, but that's true though, because I think we say like a lot of people see our relationship and they're like, wow, you guys have a really good relationship. But they don't realize, and this is why we did the show, is that we're human beings and we argue sometimes. It may be silly things like who's driving, but it's an argument and it's a valid argument, right? Because in those arguments, or I wouldn't even say arguments, disagreements, right? In those disagreements, we learn about each other. Mm-hmm. He learned the reason why I didn't want to drive is because I saw my dad always drive.
That was a real learning moment.
And my mom she drove, but when my dad was with her, it was just kind of like she was in, so it was like me seeing that, I'm like, this isn't right. This is not how I saw it, so it was kind of one of those moments. And did we argue to the point that we're like, okay, this is not going to work? No, it's not that serious. It's like you compromise. Like everything is great in our relationship. Sometimes he may not like to drive. And that's like...
And like I said, man, to where I'm from and the way I've seen it in my family is like, like this... I don't want to use the word honorary. It sounds bad. But it's like, it's a level up thing, like, you know what I'm saying?
But
like,
you know why it's a level up? Because of your perspective and what you've seen it as.
No, not even just my perspective. Like when like when a girl is driving, it's like, oh, that's her car. Like who, you know what I'm saying? Like that's her whip. Like who driving with her, not who she driving with. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
but then in society, if you see a girl driving a dude, is like, oh, that's
where I'm from. That's ownership. Like we say, oh shit, like such and such got a car. Like you ain't even paying attention to the dude. You just see a chick driving. Like oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like
see, this is what I'm talking about. It's interesting because where you're from, that's how you guys perceive it. But where I'm from, it's like, oh, she driving her man around. Like it's not looked. It's not looked. In that perspective, it's actually looked down upon, like, oh, you driving him around again?
Like where I'm from, that's like a chick got it together, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
See,
like,
this is the two different perspectives, because like and that's a valid, I guess, perspective of it is.
So when I'm doing that, I'm more so like, you driving, not driving me around. It's more like,
look at my wife.
Yeah, like she driving the car like this.
She wear the
you know what I'm saying?
pants.
Like, wouldn't you want to, you know what I'm saying? If it was a Lambo or something, wouldn't you want to be behind the wheel of that? Would you want to be driving it?
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
So I say yes. It's like when I'm going to get my nails done and he's not in the car, I'm like, yes. But when he's in the car, I want to look cute in the Lambo on the passenger seat with my shades, my hair. You know what I'm saying?
Said? She wanna look. Your girls care too much about how stuff look.
But it's not. Here's the thing. I was gonna say it's not to look for other people. It's to look good for myself. So while you driving, I could be.
She gonna sit up here and cafe. She always say girls be trying to look good for each other.
It's true though.
Yeah, so you
want
to
see? Come on, ladies, let's be real.
So I just caught you. with your old stuff.
So you just
so to put together what you always say and you trying to look good to other girls to say, hey, look at me in the passenger seat and my man driving me around. Fuck you mean?
Now you say that, it sounds good, but that's not what I was thinking about it. I just.
But you just caught yourself with your own words. You just caught you can't.
And that, see, there's different scenarios, and I'm gonna explain it. So when I say that, most of the time when us women dress up, it's not for the men, it's for the other women, because it's true. Like when we get dressed up, most men, and I will say most, because you will, like, if I do my hair a certain way or if I change up, like, you'll notice it. Like, oh, babe, I love your hair. Like, but the average, we're not talking about you, like, the average guy, from what I see, like, my friends, right? They'll be like, you know, I did all of this, and he hasn't even noticed it, right? So when I say it's like most men won't notice those things, or I'm not going to say most, those men may not notice those things, right? But women... Oh, honey, we're going to notice everything. Did you cut your hair? And it could be like 2 inches that you cut your hair.
Was that you driving the car and he
right.
was sitting in the passenger
but
seat?
It's,
yeah, next time I'll make him drive.
And it's not... It's not like a competition.
Sure, I mean, yeah.
It's just like women are just like, oh, girl, you look cute. So it's you know, it's in that aspect.
So my question is, who's going to drive when we get 2 cars?
You... Babe.
So I'm going to drive 1 car and then split my soul and have him sit in the car and drive you while I drive this way?
No. Let me explain this again. When I'm by myself, I'm going to drive. But when I'm not by myself, or in the same vehicle, you're going to drive. So for example, 1 car will be parked. The other car will have both of us, whether we're with the kids or not. And I'll be in the passenger, and you'll be driving. Sounds good.
Just make sure when you driving by yourself, you're going to be driving the minivan.
Why does this man so desperately want to get me in a minivan?
Yeah. That's the compromise. See, what marriage is all about, compromise, people. If I'm going to be driving when we're together, when she got to drive by herself, she's going to drive the minivan. And the nice, compact sports car will sit in the driveway.
No.
That's the compromise.
No.
That's the compromise.
Absolutely not.
That's the compromise.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I want the minivan a little bit here and there.
Everywhere.
But no.
Yeah.
First of all, why it has to be a van? Can it be an SUV? Like, no.
We need a van.
No, we
for
don't.
Our family.
Yeah, they have SUVs with 3-row seating. We don't need a minivan.
Who said we need an SUV?
Because you said we need more room. So the same room that a minivan has, an SUV has. So.
What if the price tag is better on the minivan?
No. Compromise.
No, I already compromised with being the driver.
So 24/7, you are absolutely always going to be the driver.
I ain't say that.
So there's
but I
no
ain't say
compromise.
24/7 you was going to drive the van either. I just said most of the time. Because you want me to most of the time be the driver.
Listen, but why does that have to
See how compromise works?
But why? Yes, but why a minivan? No shade towards minivan, but it's just like, why a minivan when we can get an SUV?
Because minivans are resourceful.
I feel like you're trying to punish me.
It's a compromise.
It's a compromise.
You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying it. If I have to drive.
The kids love the minivan.
Baby, no, they don't.
Mm-hmm. When we was at your dad's, they loved the minivan.
My dad has a van,
but
his van isn't really like.
They loved it. You know
they
loved
no.
it. You know they loved it.
We're not
you know they loved it. Mm-hmm.
No.
Dodge, holla at us, man. We need an endorsement, man.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
And if we're getting a minivan,
send
let's
us the
get like a Benz.
Sell us the souped up minivan, though.
This man has been haunting me about this minivan since we got to Georgia. He's like, yeah, babe, so we're doing this minivan. And I feel like he does it because he knows You know, he gets in
She acting like she wasn't dipping the carrot. She wasn't whipping the caravan when we had it.
Yeah, I was.
You was everywhere in the jump.
I was, but doesn't necessarily mean
She's
like,
oh, I like this. I could get used to it. She was, right? She was.
Don't let this man lie to you guys.
She was. You know he was, bro. We've been everywhere with that joint, too.
I said,
I could get used to this, yeah.
Happened
for y'all, yeah.
I definitely did not. Don't listen to this girl. I definitely didn't say, oh, I can get used to this.
Yeah, she did.
So the compromise is that hubby will drive 100% of the time while we're together. And then, right? See how excited he looks about that?
I plead the fifth.
I see all of the excitement just pouring out your pores.
Plead the fifth.
But yeah, this episode was a really good episode. I love the conversations, and we're going to continue to get deeper and have good conversations. So make sure you comment down below to let us know what topics you want us to talk about. And also make sure you subscribe, you like, and you share. And don't forget to hit
that button, man. You know what button I'm talking about?
That button right
that
down
bell.
there.
Hit that bell, man. Hit that bell, man. Hit that bell. Hit that bell. Hit that bell, man.
Well, guys, it's been real. It's been another great episode of Now That the Kids Are Asleep. And till next time, right? Till next time.
Hit that bell.
See you guys.